Good evening, everyone. We're here tonight principally to honor 5 very special people who give much of themselves to all around them, and they are our recipients of the St. Edmund's Medal of Honor Award. But I have one other purpose that I want to briefly address and bring to your attention, and it's not one that you'll find written in the program for this evening. My purpose and my mission is to make everyone in this room, in this town, in this state, and beyond, aware of a most special program that's housed at Ender's Island that is literally saving lives and making this world a better place, one young man at a time. And that is the recovery program that currently has 8 young men enrolled and has literally taken young men who once were filled with great hope and had great dreams, and has put hope and dreams back in their lives. I'm involved in a number of nonprofit organizations. There is not one cause, one mission that in my eyes is as compelling and grabs my heart the way this recovery program does, because of the manner in which it impacts not just the lives of those in the program, but their families, their friends, and the world around us. There's no better way for me to make you understand the power and the import of this program than by introducing 2 very exceptional young men who I ask that you give your attention for just a few moments to let them tell their stories. They are Sean Smith and John Kelly, both who are in the program. Both boys are young men are 25 years old. Sean has been in the program almost 2 years. John has been in the program almost 3 years. Sean's from Maryland, John's from North Carolina. They are 2 examples of the outstanding achievements that this program is having. So without further ado, I'd like to bring Sean Smith up to present a few words.
Thank you so much for everybody being here tonight and being part of this event. I've got a disease called alcoholism. I am here tonight to deliver a message of hope and recovery. I was born to a loving, supportive mother and father. My father was in the Army, and my mother was in the Air Force. There were positive and negative aspects of being a military brat. One positive aspect that I saw was much of the world. However, it meant I frequently had to make new friends. I recognize now that before I ever had my first drink, alcoholism affected me. I was the type of kid that was driven and highly motivated. I looked great on paper. I played many sports and was an average student. But I was always afraid that if people discovered me, who I really was, they would walk away. I couldn't stand being alone. The co-founder of AA describes these feelings. Alcoholics have a lack of proportion in the ability to think straight. I exaggerated my self-pity and depression. I lived my life not having dreams but goals. So getting into some trouble with no life plan, I decided to join the Army. I'd hoped that decision would force me to stop using alcohol and drugs. and make my family proud of me. Once stationed at my combat airborne unit in North Carolina, Fort Bragg, the alcoholic in me increasingly got worse, restless, irritable, and discontent. To again express a sense of ease and comfort, I took those few first drinks. Alcohol and drugs were my way of coping. Also at that time, it seemed like everyone was getting married before deployment. So of course, wanting to belong, I got married. Parties were much a part of my daily routine, as getting up and putting on my boots. I worked hard and I played hard. Although, I once dreamt that my career in the service would go on, but my alcoholism stole it. I was honorably discharged from the Army. The three hardest things for me to say was I love you, I'm sorry, and help me. It seemed the next 5 months was a jump off of a black diamond ski slope. Ultimately, I was left to three options: keep drinking, commit suicide, or try the sober thing. My marriage was on the verge of collapse. I was a menace to society. I spent about a month hiding in a 6x5-foot closet. Ultimately, I chose the sober thing. A miracle. Enders Island became my new home. When I arrived, I had a beard, earrings, baggy clothes, and weighed 155 pounds. I was angry. I was hopelessly bankrupt. Spiritually, mentally, and physically. I didn't smile, didn't talk much, or even eat foreign foods. I actually put ranch dressing on almost everything I ate, to tell you the truth. Oh. There were two things this alcoholic didn't like: the way things were and change. There were moments in life when you know you've crossed a bridge. I crossed that bridge onto Enders Island. As a member of Enders Island family, I've experienced hope and stopped trying to numb myself with alcohol and drugs. I finally realized that if I changed my behaviors, worked the program given so freely, and choose sobriety, would remain imprisoned by the insanity of my addiction. Not only did I embrace AA to learn how to stop using, I came to learn to live free from the insanity that defined my life. The disease had robbed me of my identity, my self-esteem, and my faith. I bordered homelessness, hopelessness, and worthlessness. Enders Island, God-centered program of recovery, has completely restored everything this disease took, plus 150% more. Here's the bottom line: God completes me, and the sick and suffering. Through staying sober one day at a time, I've accepted my role to serve God and the people around me. I found purpose. I once told my sponsor, Rick, It's not living by the power of example, but by the power of God. My sponsor tells me the sky's the limit, and yes, it is. Many opportunities now possible because of my sobriety. I am grateful for this first door on Enders. That was the opening. I now have a healthy, joyful, filled relationship with my family, friends, employees, and God. What has sobriety brought me? To reunite with my higher power, become present, finish a full marathon, attend my sister's graduation, purchase a car, pay off debts, and become a sponsor to a gentleman that lives on the island. And I'm also privileged to work at Electric Boat General Dynamics in North Kingston, Rhode Island. I am extremely happy to tell you, 1 month from today, with God's grace, I'll be 2 years sober. Thank you. I plan on attending New England College or New England Tech for an associate's degree in business management. I am very grateful for the Enders Island Recovery Program, Father Tom, the loving staff, my family, friends, the boys, my sponsor Rick, in AA. I couldn't come this far without every one of you being here and supporting me. My gift to God is my recovery. My gift back to God is what I do to continue with my recovery. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good rest of the evening.
Now you know I wanted to bring Sean up. I'd like to also introduce John Kelly, who will share with us his experiences and his achievements in the recovery program. John.
Good evening. Last year I was invited to speak at this wonderful event, and I shared a little about myself, my experience with addiction, and how the recovery community at St. Edmund's Retreat very literally saved my life. So when I was invited to speak again this year, I wasn't quite sure what to say, because I thought I'd pretty much covered it all. But I seriously considered dusting off my old speech and passing it off as new, but that idea didn't seem to go over so well, unfortunately. I think I was struggling because sometimes change can be difficult to detect in oneself, and often a more accurate measure might be taken by noting the changes in those around you. So with that in mind, I'd like to talk a little about the incredible and inspiring changes I've witnessed in my best friend, Brian Hickey. Brian came to St. Edmund's at about the same time I did, and we've shared in each other's highs and lows en route to becoming sober young men. I remember the first time I met Brian. He was wearing a hoodie, the hood up, his eyes were firmly fixed on the floor. He was crestfallen and quiet. And it's funny because if you know Brian today, quiet isn't a word that's generally used to describe him. But slowly, during his time at St. Edmund's, he grew healthier, more confident, optimistic, and notably louder. As Brian continued to heal, he made his way back to school and developed an insatiable appetite for literature and a deep love for writing and storytelling. Not too long ago, he applied and was accepted to St. Michael's College in Vermont. He recently left for his first semester there, where he's majoring in English. Over the summer, Brian and I attended a conference in Cleveland concerning collegiate recovery, and Brian's currently in the process of creating a collegiate recovery community at St. Michael's. I relate his story because if in my time at St. Edmund's I've come to resemble in any way the remarkable man Brian's become, I'd count that as a win. Those who meet Brian today are deeply inspired by his intellectual curiosity, his courage, and his humor. Brian inspires me every day, and I feel extremely privileged to call him my friend, and I know many others who feel the same way. Brian is a testament to and a shining example of what the sober community at St. Edmund's is all about. So, taking Brian's lead, last year I made a return to school. At the beginning I was nervous and unsure of myself, but at the end of my first semester I'd miraculously made straight A's and quickly realized that I could not only manage college-level material, I could excel at it. And during this time, a childhood dream which had remained dormant for so long as the result of addiction once again presented itself as a genuine possibility. See, I've wanted to be a doctor since I was 10. I remember years ago riding down a long stretch of sandy road in the Outer Banks of North Carolina in the passenger seat of my grandfather's pickup. It was Thanksgiving Day. My grandfather's fingers fumbled around the radio's volume knob in an attempt to turn it down. And sadly, interrupting Chantilly Lace by the Big Bopper, he spoke up and asked, "What do you want to be when you grow up, Slick?" He always called me Slick. It was the first time I remember being asked that question, but I responded almost reflexively, "A doctor." That was my dream at 10 years old, and though my path has since been populated with the unexpected perils of addiction, that dream remains intact and is taking shape in a very substantive way. I'm on the Dean's List at school, and I'm an active member of various clubs and student government. Last year I began volunteering at an emergency room, a local emergency room, and building on that incredible experience, this summer I became an EMT. I'm currently in the application process to become a student at Columbia University in New York and several other colleges in New England. These are things that St. Edmund's and living sober have given me, and things that simply wouldn't be possible as an active alcoholic. Tonight, I'm proud to tell you, I'm 1 year, 8 months, and 23 days sober. Thank you. I came to St. Edmund's in that strange stage of addiction that so many alcoholics know so well, when I was unable to stop drinking, and at the same moment, unable to continue. St. Edmund's retreat took me in broken, alone, and filled with fear. But from a frightened, shaking, and sick young man, I've garnered strength and sobriety I once thought impossible, and I've been afforded a hope that sustains my spirit one day at a time. As a mentor to other young men in sobriety, I have the privilege to observe on a daily basis the healing and maturation of those who are just beginning their journey toward a meaningful, sober life. As the result of my time at St. Edmund's, I've witnessed that, once freed from the bondage of addiction, entirely new terrain emerges for young men in sobriety who once found the world so confounding. Terrain that's inhabited by hope and marked by boundless possibility. St. Edmund's gave me the tools with which to work a better future for not only myself, but my fellows. I find it difficult to articulate the level of gratitude I have for St. Edmund's, for taking me in, taking a chance, and for fostering an environment that's allowed me to become the person that I was meant to be. I'm unbelievably grateful. Thank you very much.